What's up, everybody? How's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, ChatGPT. And more specifically, whether or not ChatGPT has completely destroyed algorithm-style coding interviews as we know them. Lately, I've been seeing tons of people post online how this is the end of algorithm-style coding interviews, how we're never going to have to invert a binary tree or reverse a linked list ever again in our lives. We're never going to have to do these stupid algorithm problems. Interestingly, it always seems to come from people who don't like these algorithm-style coding interviews, who think they're useless, but I divagate. The point is, clearly ChatGPT can do these coding interview problems very well. I posted a video recently where I conducted a proper Google coding interview with ChatGPT. It did amazing on it. It basically performed better than any human being could. And so it begs the question, are algorithm-style coding interviews done? Now, to be clear, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible in my answer. I fully realize that I run a company called Algo Expert that helps software engineers specifically prepare for algorithm-style coding interviews, amongst other types of technical interviews like front-end, machine learning, systems design that are unrelated to algorithm-style coding interviews. But still, I obviously have a vested interest in this whole topic, but ultimately, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is the truth and what the market thinks. So I'm just going to be very unbiased. By the way, if you're a software engineer preparing for technical interviews, do check out my company, Algo Expert. Go to algoexpert.io and use the promo code CLEM for a discount on the platform. Okay, so are all these people right? Has ChatGPT destroyed algorithm-style coding interviews? The answer is, drumroll, 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 no. Absolutely not. And to be honest, I'm a little bit confused, if not even disappointed, that so many people seem to be regurgitating the same idea that they've been destroyed, because if you give it just a little bit of thought, a little bit of critical thinking, you'll realize that ChatGPT has done nothing to algorithm-style coding interviews. Let me explain. Algorithm-style coding interviews are the method of choice to assess software engineers in interviews by tech companies, big and small, but especially big, for two primary reasons. Reason number one is that they are scalable. They are the most scalable method of interviewing software engineers that we are aware of. Scalable meaning that they can be conducted in a fair, almost standardized manner on tens of thousands of software engineers in a short period of time. And spoiler alert, ChatGPT hasn't changed that at all, not one bit. Now, the second reason that algorithm-style coding interviews are very good for these tech companies is that they happen to assess a lot of different skills that software engineers need to have to be good on the job pretty well. They assess, obviously, your understanding of algorithms and data structures, but more importantly, they assess your coding ability, your problem-solving ability, your communication skills. But not only that, here comes the biggest point in all of this, they are particularly good at avoiding false positives. What that means is that these algorithm-style coding interviews are hard to pass if you're a bad candidate. It's very possible that you will fail these coding interviews even if you're a good candidate, but you are unlikely to pass them if you're a bad candidate. And what do you know? These tech companies really, really value avoiding false positives. They would prefer rejecting a bunch of good candidates who unfortunately fail these interviews than accepting a couple of bad candidates who manage to hack their way past the interview and pass the interview. And that's because the cost of a bad hire is extremely high. It takes a long time to notice that the hire was bad in the first place. It contaminates the team, then you have to get rid of them, you have to pay severance, all that stuff. It's not good. And that's why these tech companies, especially the big ones, rely on these algorithm-style coding interviews that are so good at avoiding false positives. And now we get to the point of ChatGPT, which is that ChatGPT has done nothing to change these algorithm-style coding interviews, helping companies avoid false positives. In other words, all of us mere mortals, mere human beings, are still just as good as we previously were, or just as bad as we previously were, at algorithm-style coding interviews. And no one is walking in an on-site interview with ChatGPT on our shoulder who's going to help us ace the technical interview and pass it. Just because ChatGPT can ace the algorithm-style coding interview and effectively be a false positive, because ultimately ChatGPT is not a good software engineer, so for ChatGPT to pass an algorithm-style coding interview, like it did in my Google coding interview video, means that it was a false positive. But the thing is, again, Google, Amazon, Facebook, they're not interviewing ChatGPT, right? They're interviewing a software engineer, a human being who doesn't have access to ChatGPT in the interview room. Saying that ChatGPT has destroyed algorithm-style coding interviews is equivalent to saying that calculators or Wolfram Alpha, the awesome math tool that's a math website where you can basically do calculus and all sorts of complex math equations and calculations and all that, it's like saying that these tools completely ruined the way that exams are proctored or conducted in college or in high school. Not at all. Students are still assessed in the same way. They still have to be able to solve the problems themselves without using a calculator, without using Wolfram Alpha, without using ChatGPT. And for those of you who say, okay, but ChatGPT might affect how software engineers do interviews online because they can cheat online using ChatGPT or in remote interviews, on Zoom, video calls, whatever. Well, at that point, we just fall back on, okay, we have to combat cheating, and ChatGPT might be a slightly more advanced and maybe an easier form of cheating, but still there's tons of technology out there that can detect cheating. There's software that detects screen movements and can analyze if you're changing tabs, things like that. There's software that tracks your eye movement during an interview with your webcam to see if you're looking elsewhere. Then there are anti-plagiarism tools, and there are already some anti-plagiarism tools for ChatGPT, so I'm sure there are going to be some for coding interviews. And ultimately, most companies have another line of defense after an online technical interview, which is an on-site, in-person coding interview. So for all these reasons, I just don't see it. Like, ChatGPT has done nothing to algorithm-style coding interviews. Whether you like it or not, that's just the truth. Let me know if you disagree with me. If you disagree with me and if you have a good argument, put it in the comments below. Would love to hear it. Otherwise, don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter if you enjoy short-form written content. Instagram if you like pictures, and I will see you in the next video.